Welcome back to Ekascloud online courses. Today I will be making a presentation on identity and access management, also known as IAM. The agenda today will be to give a quick overview on IAM, the IAM service, talk about users, groups, and then I will be speaking about roles. The IAM service is a web service that helps you to securely control access to your AWS resources. So we're talking about your S3 bucket, your EC2 instance. You want to know who would be having access to different area of your environment. It also helps you to control who is authenticated and authorized, who you've given a permission to have access to these resources. And when you first create an AWS account, you begin with, you have the single sign-in identity that helps you, that you have to complete in order to have access to AWS services and resources. However, this is called the root account, and this is yours will be your default account. This account should not be used for regular services. It should not be shared, and it should not be, given out to anyone. If you need to carry out any operations within your environment, then it is suggested that you create an IAM account from your root account before you go ahead and start accessing resources within your environment. In identity and access management, users, we usually create users, and users are identities with customized permissions assigned to them. And then users can be in groups, or they can be grouped, say, for example, based on the function they perform within your organization. And then, once you have a group, each of the group will be granted a permission. Users, and automatically all the users within a group would have the same level of permission, for a particular resource. And the user don't have to belong to just one group. You can have a user belonging to multiple groups. So you can have someone who will be part of the admin group, and then at the same time will be part of the IT group. And IAM users come about when we're talking about, understanding or knowing who users within our environment. So if you've got the question around who is that user, why do they have that level of access or privilege within, to a particular resource. So that's when, the identity part, you want to recognize what the user is and the level of permission granted to them. They're often referred to, this is often referred to a way of, authenticating a user. So by you being able to answer who a user is, you're able to, authenticate that user. So you create an individual IAM user within your account, and then that corresponds to a user within your organization. So a named person will have an individual IAM account assigned to them. So if they might be assigned to multiple groups, but each individual will have just one IAM account. Excuse me. The IAM users are not separate accounts, so they are the same users within your account. So it's the same person but having an account. And each user can have its own password for access to, the AWS Management Console. Also, you can create an individual access key for each user so that the user can, make any sort of programmatic request to work within your resource, within the account as well. So that's when users need to work in CLI and the likes. And when we come to talk about IAM groups, so the IAM User Group is a collection of IAM users. And the user groups will let you specify the permission for multiple users. So rather than creating permission for each of your user, if you have user groups in place, then you can specify permission to that user group, and it makes it easier for you to manage the permissions for those users. And a user group can contain many users. A user can, belong to multiple groups at the same time. Like you can see, sometimes you can see Bob also being part of a test group, so that's something that would be possible. The user group contains users only, so you wouldn't have like a subgroup under a user group, so it's only made up of users. And lastly, when we talk about IAM roles, the IAM roles is the identity that you create in your account that has specific permissions. So the role might be, say, IT role, and then you would assign specific permission to that role. Instead of being uniquely associated with one person, so the role will be intended to be assumed by anyone who needs it. So if you have an admin group in place and someone needs to perform the role of an admin, then you can assign that role can be associated to that person by you assigning it to them as they need it. And the role does not have standard long-term credentials such as password or access keys associated with them. So, and situations where you use roles will be, say, if you have an IAM user in the same AWS account as a role, and also if you have an IAM user in a different AWS account than the role, so that you want to use a role, assign a role in that instance. Also, if you have an AWS a web service offered by AWS, such as Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud as your EC2, so you might want to assign a role to that, such that service or that resource might be performing a function. So in that instance, you assign a role to it in order for it to be able to perform a particular operation. Also, an external user can be authenticated, by you assigning a role to them, and that's where, that's what we refer to as external identity provider of service. So they can also be allocated or assigned as role. And that's it for me, a quick introduction. I hope you find that useful, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.